Wednesday. Happy gloomy, cold, rainy day Wednesday. Oh my goodness. So how are you? I have my English paper piecing stuff right here. And I just need to cut some more out. I have, well, before I get into that. So how are you? I am fine. I'm fine as fine can be. There is an old saying that fine as a frog's hair on something like that, or fine as peach fuzz, or I don't know. It's just the everyday occurrence. So I'm better than Mr. Jerry. Mr. Jerry, when he talks or whatever, you can hear it in his throat, that he's pretty full, let's just say that. And guys can be such guys. I won't gross you out with it, but if you ever been around a boy or a man outside and they have to blow their nose, there is a certain way they do it without tissues. That's all I'm going to say. But anyways, so welcome. Yeah, now they're predicting the rain through Friday. I probably will not be able to plant the garden until at least Saturday. Because it's going to still, it's not even good. We're not supposed to hit the 60s, I think, until the holiday on Memorial Day. So the garden's going to go in really later than what it normally does, but that just means that hopefully we get a little bit longer time. I'm looking down because I'm cutting out the papers here, or the fabric. So, but it is what it is, as I always say. So today I haven't done too much. It's one of those lazy days. I don't know about you, but when it gets really cooler and the furnace keeps popping on and there's just hardly any motivation. So I did knit on my shawl this morning. I have, I think, 4 more, something like that, rows to do, and that fisherman rib, the first section is done, and then I can hop to the lace part. And then today I've been working on one of the English paper piecing that I am doing, and I got all the clue to, I got all of the 6 flowers that go around it all sewn together, and then now I'm doing the 3 extra ones, and I laid it out. The problem is that you start seeing everybody else's stuff and then you start doubting your own work. And I kept looking at it and I kept thinking, oh, I'm going to have to redo this, because, and it wasn't just one, it was, you know, I just wasn't happy with it. And so I went and got Mr. Jerry, my hubby, and I asked him if, because he's out in his work area refurbishing some vintage tools. So I brought him in and asked him for his opinion, and I had it laid out on the floor. And I showed him the Clue 2 pattern so that he could get an idea what it's supposed to look like. And I told him what all the rest of the colors would be around, because I had already one completed, so he could kind of see that. And he looked at it and looked at it, and he says, I like it. And I said, really? He goes, well, what don't you like about it? And I says, well, I think it's starting to look too busy. And I showed him what I thought would, you know, I was talking about. and then I got red in it, and there is little glimpses of red throughout it, but this is like 2 of the flowers, the petal parts were all red. And I said, I'm just thinking that he goes, no, he says, I like it the way it is. He says, when he looked at the clue, he says, I don't like hers. Hers looked too busy. He says, I can see what pattern she's going for. And he says, and I can see it on yours. He says, it's just that I think you had a perceived, is that the word? I already had in my head what I think it was going to look like, and then it didn't look like that. And he said, and he walked right in and he took one look at it without having any ideas what he was going to see. And when he saw it, he said he liked it. So I'm going to keep it the way he said, because the thought of having to redo it was just disheartening, to say the least. So, but yeah, so I made myself a decaf cup of coffee. It's after 4. I got it in my mug here with my homemade French vanilla creamer, because today warrants something warm right now. This morning's eatings have been, well, it's been okay. I had my typical smoothie. Lunch was leftovers. We had homemade macaroni and cheese and corn dogs for supper last night. There was just a little bit left, probably a half a cup of that. And then the night before we had tuna noodle casserole, and there was about half a cup of that left over. So he took the macaroni and cheese, and he had a half a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with some chips, and then he had bought some dip, and he had some of that, and I had the tuna noodle casserole. And he had the chip dip and the chips out, and I took a bite of it. I shouldn't have done that. I did count it. I did take a portion of the chips and a portion of the dip. I did count them all. But I could also sense that I could very easily have set out here today and just probably made myself sick finishing up that dip and the chips, and just because I just been, every time I get up, I go right to the pantry and look to see what there is to snack on. I don't even go to the refrigerator. I know I've got stuff in the refrigerator, but it's not what I want. So, hence the coffee with the French vanilla creamer. And so, but I thought, you know, sometimes I think that I just don't have anything to show you guys. It's the same old, same old. And I just don't know why people would want to come on and listen to me babble. Because when the weather's like this, there's not much vlogging to do. I can vlog my birds that you would have seen. But other than that, there's not too much to vlog. So, and I can keep showing you the same thing over and over again that is growing, but that gets to be monotonous, I think. And so today there's not only what, you know, the birds I had shown. The cooler weather has really brought the birds out. Jerry went out this morning and added more suet cakes and what was left of the 40 pounds of seed that he just fed them a couple days ago, and that's gone. And The one suet cake he replaced is already gone. I mean, the birds are just, they're just nonstop. It's almost like this cold weather has kind of tricked them. The squirrels have ate all their corn. They've been digging and burying corn kernels. It's just like, and then I sit here and I think, oh, all the things that I got to do on the garden. Of course, all this rain we've been getting, my celery that was standing up, because they're seedlings still, really. I see they're kind of fell over, so I'm hoping as soon as the rain stops, it starts to dry out and the sun comes out, they'll just stand right back up. Yeah. But it's hard to believe that the holiday weekend is here, because it's like Jerry said, it used to be Memorial Weekend. It was the last day, seemed like, of the month, and then you went right into June. We still have another full week of May. But here in our little area, it's not going to be very warm. If we were out camping, we'd be having the fire going all the time. I mean, it makes good camping weather if it's not raining. That way you can have your campfires going all the time. But my idea of camping nowadays is in a cottage or a hotel room or a really nice travel trailer. I've done the tents. I have done the rustic. I have done it all. We used to have it. We even had a cottage when we ran and worked at the camp. So I've done it all. So my style of camping right now is right here in the house and my sunroom. So, but doesn't mean I don't mind sitting around a good campfire either. But I was thinking, I used to make, when the kids would come down and the grandbabies were a lot littler, you know, like 2, 3, 4, like that. I always made a holiday dessert, because back then I was doing Weight Watchers too, and it was just angel food cake that I had tore up into chunks, and I would just layer it. And I've done it in a trifle bowl, and I've done it in a 9x13 before. And I would just take angel food cake and I would tear it up and put a layer on the bottom, and then I would put a layer of Cool Whip, and then I'd cut whatever fruit I wanted on it. Usually it was bananas and strawberries and blueberries, and then I would just put another layer of angel food cake, and just I would repeat it. Just depends on how big the container is. And always finished with a layer of Cool Whip, and then I would put the fruit on top so everybody could see what was on there. Now our son doesn't like bananas, so I would make it so that I didn't have bananas in it for them. I would add something else. But for Jerry and I just do that. And I was thinking, maybe I should just go and get for him and I this weekend, and just do that, because it's not that bad in points, especially if I make it for us in individual little serving containers. So I might do that. I haven't made potato salad in a long time. So I might look up some potato salad, homemade potato salad, and make that up, so that we got stuff here to eat. The other thing that growing up we used to always do was we made a fruit bowl. You know, you got your favorite fruits and you just chunked them all up, from blueberries, strawberries, watermelon, muskmelon, whatever you like. And we just would cut it and fill the bowl up. And then we put a top over it, and it would set in the refrigerator. And anytime you wanted any fruit, you just open up the refrigerator. And you know, the longer it sets, the more juicier it gets and stuff. And so I thought, you know, that might be kind of good to do too, is just to get some fruits. Jerry will eat them if I say, hey, do you want some? But he doesn't always gravitate towards it. Every once in a while, he will buy himself some blueberries, and he will munch on them. But if I don't use them in something, they will go bad because he doesn't do it all the time. But I just thought with the holiday weekend coming up, I shouldn't have to deny us some nice foods within reason. You know, it doesn't have to be all cookies and cakes and all that stuff and brownies and, let's see, s'mores. There's nothing wrong with s'mores. Y'all, we can count the s'mores. So, but we don't have a campfire here. And we do have a gas stove. And we have done that before with the kids. We have turned the gas stove on, and then we have gotten out the marshmallow forks, and then we've done that before. So I'm sure some of you have done that before too. We've also done it in the microwave, where you sit there and you put your s'mores all together. You got to watch it, because those marshmallows like to puff and they'll explode on you. But as soon as you see them rise right up, then shut it off, and then it settles back down. But it's just enough to melt the chocolate a little bit, but not bad. So, but I can't do that. I can't have the chocolate, because chocolate is my kryptonite. So, but I just thought I would sit here and come on and say hello. I got these all cut out, so now all I have to do is just glue baste them on. And I just use this Sue Daily. You can get all types. People even use nowadays Elmer's glue, as long as it's any glue that is water-based, because you don't need a lot. But this one right here comes in this handy dandy thing right here, and when I twist it, it does come up. So yeah, but a lot of people will sew them on instead of glue basting because it's more economical. So, and I got to get the things apart here. But, you know, I just feel like that the more time, the older I get, the quicker time is moving on. Man, I can remember being a child thinking the day would never end. Or at work thinking, oh, will this day ever end? Will this night ever end? And I can also remember saying to people, boy, I can't wait until I'm retired. And a few wise souls every once in a while would say, don't wish your life away. It goes by too fast. And as you're growing up, you think as a kid, there's no way it goes too fast. And before you know it, you're married and you have kids, and right there's that little diamond. And once the kids are in high school, and well, it doesn't even have to be high school. Once your kids decide to be in sports or band or anything like that, then it blows by super fast. And when our kids hit high school age, a parent who just had their child graduate said, enjoy it all because it goes by in a blink of an eye. And before you know it, they're graduated and they are gone to college, or they're gone working, looking for their own place, and before you know it, you're an empty nester. So, and they're right. The last few days have just blown by fast. I look at the clock and I think, wow, it's already 4:30. So, which means I've been talking to you guys for a little bit. So I better quit chit-chatting, or this is going to be an hour. So anyways, I just want to also say, if there are some days you do not see a vlog going up, a video, it probably means a couple of things. I just didn't have it in me to do, or I have a headache, and I just don't feel like I have anything to say or talk to you about. But for the majority of the time, I will try to come on and just say hey. And if you're not seeing me every day except for Saturday and Sunday, check your notifications. Make sure that bell is on all notifications, because being such a teeny tiny channel, the algorithm, just like anything else, doesn't think that I'm worth bumping up to everybody's feeds like people that are 1,000 or more. So sometimes the notifications doesn't come up. So so please make sure you either subscribe and hit that notification bell. It'll just say that I popped up, that I've posted something. If you're too busy to watch, you can save it to watch another time or wait till the next one. So, but anyways, I just also want to say thank you for the ones that are still around and still commenting and still watching and giving me the thumbs up. I really appreciate it, because there have been days that it's really hard to keep going, to think after a year, almost a year and a half of doing this, that I try not to look at the numbers, but the numbers do affect me sometimes, and sometimes I just get in my own head, just like with my weight loss journey. So, and I just have to kind of brush that aside and not look at that, and just do what I can do. So, but anyways, thanks again, my friends. I'm going to get back to glue basting these so I can kind of work on that, and then we have a baseball game to listen to. Our grandson Riker, who is 12 years old, will be playing at 6:30 tonight, so we'll want to listen to that. So till I can see you hopefully on Thursday, I hope that you have a good rest of your evening. Oh, we got, so let me switch you around to see if I can get the red-headed woodpecker. Just a second. Oh, he flew off. He flew off. Doggone it. He is a true woody woodpecker. So, but anyways, thanks again, friends, and I will see you on Thursday.